My dad sold cars for 43 years. He's going to teach you the 10 mistakes you should never make as a first-time car buyer. Pops, let's jump right into it. Number 1, not setting a budget first. Why is this number 1 on your list of top 10 mistakes for first-time car buyers?
Because if you don't understand what you can actually afford, the dealer's going to put you into something that you can't afford, and they'll get you to say yes. And you'll end up buried in your very first car. So you need to understand, especially if you are looking at monthly payments, you need to understand what that monthly payment translates into as far as the price of an automobile. If your monthly payment will allow you to buy a $30,000 car, based on the money you have down, don't be looking at $40,000 or $50,000 cars. And if you don't know what your monthly budget is, the dealer is going to push you to the max.
I want to be very clear, folks. The past 5 years, I've been building this company and this YouTube channel called CarEdge with my dad. We have videos on the 10% rule, or Google search, or YouTube search, or ChatGPT it. I don't care. The 10% rule to buy a car, space CarEdge, and you will find all of our resources on how to set a budget when you buy a car. The key word here, 10% rule. No more than 10% of your gross monthly income should be your budget. Number 2, Dad, the second mistake you see most frequently with those first-time car buyers, focusing only on monthly payments. And you even just mentioned it a moment ago. Why is this the second biggest mistake for first-time car buyers?
Because if all you're focused on is the monthly payment, not the price of the vehicle, not the length of the term of the loan, the dealership is just going to extend out the length of the loan, the time it's supposed to take to pay it all back, to get a better payment for you. Meanwhile, they haven't done anything to the selling price of the vehicle, like lowering it at all, in order to get to that cheaper payment. So if you're just focused on monthly payments, your eye is off the ball, and the ball is agreeing upon a selling price, understanding a selling price, including all fees. It's known as the out-the-door price. The purchase price of the vehicle, plus all accessories, plus all fees. That is what you need to concentrate on. If all you concentrate on is the payment, you have no idea what the rest of those numbers are.
Keyword here to do your research on: out the door price. Heck, Dad, you've told me stories from when you were selling cars of customers who were confused if they financed or leased the vehicle because they were just so focused on the monthly payment. Next thing you know, they didn't even know how they were purchasing, or in the case of leasing the actual vehicle. Do not take your eye off the ball. The ball is the out-the-door price. Number 3, Dad, the third mistake for first-time car buyers that you never want to see is skipping the pre-approval steps. So this is for someone who's going to finance the purchase of that newer used vehicle. Why is this a mistake that new car buyers make?
If you get pre-approved, you have an understanding prior to going into a dealership at what interest rate your loan should be written at, and what term or length of repayment period would be comfortable for both you and the bank. So if you don't have a pre-approval, you have no basis for what any of those figures should be. And when you don't have a pre-approval, the dealership will say, oh my God, we were able to cash in a favor for you, and we were able to get you approved on this car loan. You wouldn't have been able to have that happen anywhere else. And then they just, I believe the term, if I remember correctly, is they just lay out.
Go watch our recent whiteboard video. My dad explains buy rate, sell rate, and everything about financing a vehicle. There's a lot to learn there. However, at its core, you have to have a pre-approval before you go into the dealership, or else you are losing leverage and setting yourself up for failure. Number 4, the fourth mistake first-time car buyers make: not researching the total cost of ownership for the vehicle that they're interested in. What is this mistake, Dad, and how can first-time car buyers avoid it?
The mistake of not understanding the full cost of ownership. Now, what do we mean by the full cost of ownership? I can't tell you how many deals almost blew up because the first-time buyer, we got them to a monthly payment that might have been higher than what they wanted to be. But say it was $400 a month. And then, well, because there's a loan, you need to have automobile insurance. And they had no idea how much automobile insurance was going to be. And then suddenly when you get them an insurance quote and it's $300 a month, They're going, well, wait, my car payment's $400 and my insurance is $300. So total cost is how much is the maintenance, how much is the gas, how much is the insurance, how much is my monthly payment. You need to understand all of that. You need to have done some research with, say, insurance companies to get some sense as to what your driving record is going to correlate into for an insurance premium. So total cost of ownership is just an absolute must to understand how much you're going to be spending on a monthly basis.
A fifth hidden category of cost of ownership is depreciation. And we have back on caredge.com/research all sorts of estimates for all of those buckets of cost of ownership. Do your research before you head into the dealership and end up maybe wasting your time. Number 5, Dad, ignoring vehicle history reports. We know they're not the end all be all. However, you can't ignore them when you're purchasing a used vehicle, can you?
Well, you can, but you better not. And the reason you better not is in some cases you might find out that the car was in a major accident or the car had been declared a total loss and you're buying this as if it had never had an accident or had never been declared a total loss. So you need to know what the history report is. And the other thing you need to do is you need to get a pre-purchase inspection done by an independent third party who can look at the vehicle and see what issues there might be that the dealership might not be disclosing to you.
Boom, there you go. That was number 5 and number 8 on our list all in one. Number 6, Dad, the 6th mistake that first-time car buyers make, forgetting to budget for taxes and fees. This ties back in with your point earlier about out the door price and budget in general. I mean, I'm sure you saw this all the time during your career. People forgot to think about the fact that they had to pay sales tax and then all the various fees.
You know, and taxes and fees add about 10 to 11% to the agreed upon selling price. So if you've agreed to buy something for $30,000, you're thinking, okay, great, I'm buying it for $30,000. And then all of a sudden you go, it's $33,000. Well, yeah, you had to pay the sales tax. You have to pay the title and the registration fees. That's all part of it. The state fees are the state fees. You have to pay those. So people often forgot about those fees, and typically it adds about 10% more to the total price of the vehicle.
This is the yin and yang between me and my dad, folks. All right. He's saying typically 10%. I'm the tech guy. Go on caredge.com or Google search out the door price calculator. You can actually see for your zip code what that percentage increase will be based on your sales tax locally and your state. We built that into the CarEdge car search as well. In certain areas, Dad, there is no sales tax. So, it doesn't always have to be 10%, but I think as a broad stroke, 10% is a great rule, and we've built some really great free tools to help those first-time car buyers know exactly what it is before they go into the dealership.
Absolutely.
Now, another big issue for first-time car buyers is falling for dealer add-ons. Things like nitrogen tires, VIN etching, paint protection, all of those things, Dad. Customers need to know that if it's taxable, it's negotiable, and they can say no, correct?
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean that the dealer will take it off, but it is something you can argue back and forth about. Just because the dealer says, well, we add that to every car, what they're not telling you is, well, not every customer pays for all that. Okay? They're hoping that you'll just agree because, well, we put that on every car, but you don't have to agree to that. You can negotiate that with the dealership. First-time buyers oftentimes just had no idea. Well, they said it was part of the car, that I had to buy it, that I had to buy that extended warranty with it and everything. You don't. Okay, you don't just accept it as fact. You fight about it. You negotiate over it. If you don't want it, you figure out a way to get them to take some of it off.
Number 8 was skipping that pre-purchase inspection, which obviously now you won't. If you're purchasing a used vehicle for new cars, you don't need to get a pre-purchase inspection. And then number 9, Dad, is just not negotiating at all. Most people don't even understand as first-time car buyers that you can negotiate the price like you talked about earlier. You can negotiate those add-ons. You can negotiate your interest rate. You can negotiate the dealer doc fee. You can negotiate your trade-in value if you have a car that you're selling to the dealership. We have an incredible resource that is 100% for free here on YouTube. It's called Deal School. Go watch it. It's about 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, Dad. It's you literally walk through how to negotiate a new and used car. So please do not make this mistake, right? Do not just walk into the dealership and assume that you can't negotiate. It's one of the few things here in the United States that you can and should negotiate.
Yeah, a lot of first-time buyers, the salespeople would say, "Oh no, there's no negotiation. This is the price. This is what you have to pay." And a lot of first-time buyers go, okay, yeah, I get it. I guess that's how it works."
Now, number 10, the last mistake for first-time car buyers, at least for this video, let us know if you want a part 2 of this series, is getting emotionally attached and timing your purchase at the wrong time. What I mean by that, Dad, is when you need to buy a car, it's typically the worst time to buy a car, and getting emotionally attached, that's a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Well, especially if you let your salesperson know you're emotionally attached to it. The cost of ownership just went up because they know you're not going to want to say no. And so they're going to work you harder than if you didn't show any real interest in that vehicle at all.
And again, like I said a moment ago, the best time to buy a car is actually when you don't need one, when you can walk away. That's any negotiation. When you can walk away, you have more leverage. Speaking of timing, just a little pro tip, go at the end of the month or the end of the quarter or the end of the year as well if you're able to time it up. That's when dealers have their big incentive programs and might give you even more of a sweet deal on a new car. A little less important for used cars, but worth mentioning here in this video.
And one last thing, don't forget to use the most powerful 2-letter word in America if you need to. And that 2-letter word is NO. If you don't feel that the price is fair, if you don't feel like everything is going the way it should be, just say no. Don't be afraid to get up and leave. Oftentimes, if you do, they'll come chasing after you and give in on some of the things you were asking for.
If you appreciate this type of content, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you know anyone who's a first-time car buyer, please share this around. It's free, it's helpful. Hopefully it helps them get a better deal. Dad, thank you so much as always.
Thank you.